Well, it looks like somebody has decided it is time for a new tactic. Let's remember the Meghan who whined about every little slide, who took to multiple media platforms to imply that the royals were racist and that they didn't care, that she felt suicidal. And let's remember she said that Catherine made her cry. Well, that Meghan has disappeared. We're supposed to forget that she ever existed. In her place, we see the Meghan Markle 2.0. She is easy and breezy and carefree, cool as ice. What? You don't believe it? Oh, well, just take a look at what she did on Monday in her first appearance this year. She was introducing a TED Talk in all her soft focus glory through video, grays and pinks, and that glossy hair with a smile on her face. Not enough? Well, later on, she and Harry were seen at an NBA playoff game, snuggling. The LA Lakers were facing off against the Memphis Grizzlies, and a kiss cam caught Meghan and Harry laughing and laughing together, even if Meghan's arm kept Harry from leaning in and getting a real kiss. So obviously, the new Meghan is joyous. She's carefree. She's living her best life. There's nothing at all fake about that. Nothing upsets this new Meghan, not even a country filled with people who, in anticipation of the king's coronation, are obviously thinking what the late queen supposedly said right before Prince Philip's funeral. Thank goodness Meghan is not coming. Now, at one point, she was referred to as Duchess Difficult, but this is the new Meghan. And she wants us to believe that she decided, in spite of weeks of back and forth negotiations with Buckingham Palace over what roles she and Prince Harry and their two kids would play at the coronation, she decided that she just didn't want to come. She wanted to take the path of least resistance, because that's who she is. She wanted to make things easier on everybody who's important. She didn't want to pull any focus away, don't you know? This in spite of multiple published reports that Harry and Meghan were actually threatening not to attend unless they got to stand up there on the Buckingham Palace balcony. You know, with the real working royals who actually don't whine all the time, who don't care about reality shows and book deals. They forget all that. They're not going to spill all kinds of secrets and spite just to get back at the royal family. But that is Meghan and Harry's brand, is it not? It's full of resentment, it's vengeful, it is petty, and it's looking to make money. It's going to see racism even where racism is not. It's going to seek out the spotlight like some kind of special ops team on the hunt for a high-value target. And then demanding that everybody leave them alone. Stop looking at me. I mean, that South Park Worldwide Privacy Tour episode hit the nail on the head. So when the news came out on Friday claiming that Meghan was not coming to the coronation because of an unsatisfactory exchange with King Charles, personal letters that she had written expressing her concerns over unconscious bias within the royal family, who out there did not think, oh yeah, that sounds about right? But Meghan says, no, that's not how it happened. That would never have happened with somebody like her. She would never do that. Certainly not after she sat right across from Oprah back in 2021 with that smug smirk on her face, asserting that a mysterious senior royal had made some inappropriate comments about the skin color of her unborn child. But that's not how Meghan is. She's not one to harp on things, you know. It's not like she's somebody who sits there and stews over all the wrongs that were done to her. It's not like she would ever, for example, accept an award from the Kennedys, America's own would-be royal family, for standing up to structural racism within the royal family, only to then have her husband turn around and walk back that claim a few weeks later. No, she and Harry have way too much integrity for that. Their stories are always very consistent. Meghan Markle does not lie. When they say something, we can take it at face value. We can always believe what they say. And so over the weekend, Meghan's mouthpiece, Scooby-Doo, released a strongly worded denial from a spokesperson. Do you want to even guess how it started? Well, of course it started the Duchess of Sussex, because she's never going to give up that title. But anyway, it continued saying, the Duchess of Sussex is going about her life in the present, not thinking about the correspondence from 2 years ago related to conversations from 4 years ago. Any suggestion otherwise is false and frankly ridiculous. Oh my goodness. All right, we got to pick this statement apart just a little bit. We need to break out the scalpels. Let's slice it and dice it and throw it away because it is a pile of garbage. So they want us to believe that Meghan is not thinking about any old grudges? I mean, come on. Her whole time spent on the world stage has been all about thinking about conversations and correspondence from years ago. and then figuring out ways to make money off of these resentments. It is her superpower, I gotta hand it to her. It's a part of her origin story, in fact. Do you remember the first time that we found out about her? It was not thanks to that cable TV show or the insipid lifestyle blog that she ran. No, it was because of a Vanity Fair cover story anointing her as Britain's next royal. I remember what the cover line read. It said, "She's just wild about Harry." And what about that flattering piece, a ringing endorsement by a big US publication, setting her up as a future royal with the palace's implied endorsement? So what did she do in response? Oh, she cried racism. One of the most politically correct liberal publications in the whole country, edited by a half American, half Indian woman, was gonna set out to insult Meghan with a racial epithet. What was Meghan's complaint exactly? Well, she was complaining because the Vanity Fair cover line was referencing a song titled "I'm Just Wild About Harry." So this was a song from way back in 1939, and it was sung by Judy Garland wearing blackface. Who on earth under the age of 95 would even know a fact like that? And so that's how the nightmare started for not only one but two countries. Honestly, I don't think America and Britain have been so united against a common enemy since World War II. Such a hypocritical and ungracious woman who, after she got everything that she seemed to want, fame and wealth and privilege, she spent most of it as the world struggled through a pandemic, moaning. So now on to the second part of that statement. We encourage tabloid media and various royal correspondents to stop the exhausting circus they alone are creating. Really now? They alone are creating? Are you serious? Has Meghan not provided most of this content? I'm talking about Oprah. I'm talking about Time Magazine, The Cut, Variety, Finding Freedom, her incorrectly named Archetypes with Meghan podcast series, Netflix, and Harry's memoir. Oh, it's the media, though. They just won't leave her alone. It really is the worldwide privacy tour. In Meghan and Harry's mock-you series on Netflix, Meghan had the nerve to insult the late Queen. She compared their first meeting to something that many Americans would know about: medieval times, dinner and a tournament. Trust me, friends, this is not high class. And then she did that theatrical mocking of what it was to curtsy to the late Queen. Harry didn't exactly support her. He just kind of sat there with a really stupid, somewhat embarrassed look on his face. But I don't know if I can really even say look on his face. I think that might just be his face. If you look up "bite the hand that feeds you" in the dictionary, I'm pretty sure right now you're going to find a photo of Meghan Markle. But we're supposed to believe that Meghan has chosen to skip the coronation, an important event that's going to be covered all over the world, because she's just out there living her best life. Is she really just that happy? I guess she's too busy and too high-minded to think about years-old conversations and correspondence after all. And just in case anybody forgot, her husband/puppet reprinted a private text exchange between Meghan and Catherine in his memoir. Well, that is quite the violation. But its value is really in revealing just how petty and small-minded Meghan really is, and how rude she was when she talked to her future sister-in-law, one who honestly does outrank her. Meghan was so vengeful to keep that in her back pocket so that she could use it in the future. She is so unself-aware to see that this act only makes one half of this dispute look bad, and it's not Catherine. I mean, Catherine's poor little daughter was too small for her bridesmaid's dress. That exchange was so incredibly passive-aggressive, and it dated back to 2018. Obviously, Meghan was the one who gave it to Harry to use in his memoir, which was published in January, 5 years later. So when Meghan talks about how ridiculous it is to suggest that she is so consumed with years-old discontents, well, alright, I'm sorry, but of course we don't believe her. And I'm sure this cool girl incarnation is gonna pass eventually, but in the meantime, it looks like the royal family once again has played their hand expertly. What is the palace's feeling on all this? Well, according to Meghan's biographer, Tom Bower, he believes that in the spirit of the late Queen, everyone's delighted she's not coming. Well, Mr. Bower, on behalf of Americans everywhere who actually have some sense, we agree.